Oh,
Do we have sound? Do we have sound now, guys?
Yeah.
You guys, can you hear us?
I guess we just had to reset it. I don't know.
Hello,
if you can
hello?
hear, yeah, if you can hear us.
If you can hear us, will you please say so in the live chat?
Not yet. Oh, someone said not yet.
Yes.
Yay.
Okay. Yay. All right. So. Thank you, Project 704 Media and Eli EDC for responding to us. And I guess that means that you guys didn't hear a word that we said.
No.
We were talking about Larry Sharpe. I don't know.
Yeah, I discovered him.
Yeah.
Yeah, just self-discovery. But basically, yeah, I just found out about him, watched his whole Dave Rubin interview and was floored about how articulate he is, how articulate of the libertarian principles of liberty in general. I actually downloaded an Audible from Robert Ringer, who he suggested, who's also really interesting. Yeah. So yeah, we're just talking about how he ran for the governor race in New York for a libertarian candidate. Unfortunately lost, but Nina was talking about how he articulates the education system and libertarian side of things.
Well, I really liked during his campaign his ability to articulate the importance of school choice, especially for underprivileged communities who might be kind of slotted into not the best public school, but if they had the opportunity to go to a charter school, to find a school in a different neighborhood, it just gives them more opportunities. And he's so eloquent in how he expresses things. And I think that if nothing else, even though he didn't win in New York, he really kind of got the libertarian message out in New York State for the first time. Like a libertarian was sort of taken seriously, actually, even though he lost like horribly.
Yeah.
But people actually weren't expecting him to have people were expecting him to do a little bit better than he did.
I think he got like 95,000 votes is what I saw. Which, I mean, I know he was explaining it. Basically, you would need 10% at least to like change things there. Which I think would have ended up being like 800,000 votes or something like that. But but actually people were saying, why would you do in New York? His explanation too, because he kind of just finally, there are two things that he explained that I've always kind of questioned. One was, his defense of Gary Johnson, the whole cake thing.
Right.
So have you heard of his explanation on that?
I actually haven't heard his explanation.
Okay, so his explanation is that he, as the business owner, he is not allowed to choose when he sells something on retail, when it's in retail, anything that's, allowed, any basic cake, because he's providing the business of, selling cakes. That part just by itself is the selling retail aspect. That one, there should be no discrimination on that. But the discrimination part that should be allowed is if he's providing a service. And so the service is him as an artist then saying, I'm going to put this, whatever he's going to say on that cake. That is his service, and that he should be allowed to discriminate on.
Right.
So that's what his explanation was.
Well, yeah. And to a certain extent, I actually agree with that. I mean, because there's a distinction between opening up a retail store and just having items on the shelf that you can just go pick up and then purchase versus saying, I'm going to commission you to make a piece of art kind of, and I want the art to look like this. And as an artist, you say, no, like that's not the kind of art that I make. And my understanding was that Gary Johnson even did not make that distinction, and that he actually was still in favor of forcing the baker to make the cake, even if it was a piece of art. And the thing is, the baker in Colorado actually was willing to sell a base cake to this particular individual who was upset about it. I don't remember the names.
Well, they said they also,
but they weren't going to do a specialty commissioned one.
Yeah, well, that's what they said. They used that argument actually in the case.
Yeah.
So
I
didn't know about that. Yeah. So I don't know. It was interesting. I think I would still be on the side of you're allowed to, because you don't have to, because you are a business owner, and just like anything else. But I don't know. It's an interesting. He claims that basically he knows Gary Johnson very well, and he would still vote for him. He wishes he was president now, and that was really what Gary Johnson meant. and that he knows him, and that's really what he was, but he did not articulate
well, that's
it well.
kind of Larry Sharpe. I voted for Gary Johnson, partially because I was sure he wouldn't win.
Oh.
I felt safe doing that. But I do actually think that in terms of a lot of things, he would have been a fine president. Like he, as president, he wouldn't have the authority to overturn what the Supreme Court said on the cake baking thing, and he probably would have a good anti-war sort of policy in terms of his foreign policy, which I would be in favor of. But he just is not a good. He doesn't have charisma.
Yeah.
Sorry, Gary Johnson. I'm sorry, man. It's just true.
I think a lot of people know that. So.
Yeah. Does anyone not know that?
Yeah. So I mean, I personally, I'm really excited. Him and Maj Toure, I've said that. I mean, they should be the future of the party. Who knows? Sometimes there's just things like blatantly in the Libertarian Party's face that are just like, look here you go, like 2016. And then they're like, nah, we're gonna go a different direction. So they could totally just like ostracize Maj and Larry, and who knows? But I hope they don't, and I hope they put them on. Maybe they should have put them on a pedestal, but rather they should definitely encourage, the national push for these two candidates. They are meeting together tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern on Black Guns Matter Instagram Live. So I'm really excited about that. You guys should head over after our podcast and go over there and listen to it. Not
we're
before.
done.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Although, really, I do love both of those candidates. I hope that the Libertarian Party embraces intelligent, articulate men like both of them are, because they can spread the message a lot better than a lot of libertarians have been trying to. Let's see. In the live chat, Eli says, check out his interview with Joe Rogan. Yeah, I think Antonio watched that one.
Yeah.
I saw clips of it, but I didn't see the whole thing.
I didn't watch the whole thing yet. I actually, took his advice and been listening to Robert Ringer since then. But I trust me, I'm only on the start. So it kind of feels good. It makes me feel like how I used to, like, when I first discovered liberty, and I was excited. I was like, ooh, Austrian economics. Ooh. Stuff like that. So that's always exciting. And it just reminds me of like why I got into this in the first place, because you're just like, what other things am I missing out on? Like, what other things are they keeping me from learning about? So even the New York thing about debunking the whole myth, because the reason why people don't vote in New York is they think, what we just thought, like, oh, it's New York. Right. Well, he was talking about how most of the people in New York City, those like over a third of those people don't even vote because they're not even eligible, because a lot of people are coming from different countries and stuff like that. They don't have the ability to do so. And a lot of them also believe in the lie that, rural, out of New York City, of New York is never going to be able to dominate New York City, so that's not true either. So he was on Glenn Beck and talked about that. I posted that on my Instagram page today because I was just like, wow, that's so true. So
it is true. And people forget that California was actually red, like not even like purple, but red for a long time. And so now people talk about California like it's blue. It's always been blue. It'll always be blue. But these things change. And I think that, compelling arguments do actually move the population if they're made by the right person. Even if that person doesn't win the election that time, everything in incremental bits. It's kind of like Sarah was talking about last week. There's people, the people who are trying to destroy liberty are doing it bit by bit. And if we are so radical that we don't take little victories, then we'll just keep losing, because we've got to take it back bit by bit too. Not that we shouldn't be extreme and passionate in our pursuit of liberty, but that we actually still want to achieve small victories every time we can.
Right.
I went off on a rant, didn't I?
Well, I mean, what are you gonna do? You talk about liberty.
I know, it gets me going.
So the second thing we wanted to talk about was the Alabama law that was pushed. So if you guys don't know about that one, the Alabama governor signed a law that probably is one of the most extreme. This is what mainstream media is saying. Extreme of the pro-life laws that are out there. So basically, she signed a female. a woman.
Oh yeah, the governor of Alabama is a woman.
Is a woman.
Just
yes.
for the record.
Born that way too. Anyways, but she signed a law basically allowing not allowing abortion, but also not allowing exceptions for incest and rape. Now I already know because I already posted about this, especially in the gun community. This is where we would get a lot of people, not even just like it was a left thing or a right thing or whatever. I've noticed because I've definitely made my mind, my opinion known on the pro-life issue that a lot of you guys are pro-gun, but not pro-life. And so you guys definitely you made your opinions heard on that one. But yeah, I have my own story on that. That's probably going to be a whole thing. But basically, I agree with that. I do think it does more pain. It does more harm and it inflicts more pain on these victims, survivors of rape and incest. I've worked with girls, 15, 16, 17 girls who have been victims of rape and incest. I'm also a rape survivor myself. I've told you guys that as well. I think that in my experience, I've seen it actually hurt them more than it's actually helped them. And by the way, a lot of these victims, unfortunately, too, especially with the incest, it's not the first time, and it's horrible. It's sad. Yeah. So it's not just a one-off a lot of the times. So you just don't find out until until it's been really prevalent. So, but yeah, that's a whole thing. But what have you thought about this whole thing, Nina?
Well, yeah, it's kind of interesting. I think that, when we're talking about policy, it gets a little bit complicated, especially with something like abortion, because I do understand that an outright ban on it would probably result in like women taking matters into their own hands in dangerous ways, and I don't like that either. I also very much feel the plight of a young girl who would have been, the victim of a rape or of incest or something like that. Like that kind of tragedy is just awful. But I guess what gets me in those arguments is that even if the life that comes out of a rape was the result of a rape, like it doesn't make it any less of a life. And I'm treading into dangerous water here. But I think what really got me in all of this debate was not about like people trying to say, oh, well, we're really trying to protect just the rape victims and this doesn't give an allotment for that. But I saw a lot of arguments on Twitter about like, well, a lot of these people will be poor anyway, or things like that. And I'm just, I just want to let anyone who is poor or something that's watching this, that your life is valuable. Like, even if you were a foster child or something, like your life has value. And even if you are the result of a rape or an incest, like your life still has value. And I do believe that. But I also understand that 6 weeks is, like, people are trying to say, oh, this argument that you might not even know you're pregnant at 6 weeks is kind of nuts. Like, I actually do think it's possible that you could not know that you're pregnant until after that 6 week mark after conception has happened. But I think that we've gotten to a place now where no one's trying to talk about like finding a reasonable policy that everyone can agree with. It's kind of gotten to a place where the people who used to just be pro-choice and said we want it to be safe and rare are now not there. It's not about safety because they don't even care if the abortion clinics have training or cleanliness the same way that hospitals do. So it's not about safety. Women go through all kinds of traumatic health problems in abortion proceedings, and it's also not about rarity. A lot of these people on the left, like, what was that? Who's that comedian that's horribly unfunny? That was like, shout your abortion! Like, oh my god,
Which one? Like,
I know which horrible, like, which one of the like horrible female comedians, like most of them that aren't funny, have said something like that. But yeah, I just think that we need to find a more reasonable place where we can come and actually talk about it, because I do understand women who are trying to say it's my body, and if you're pregnant, it is something like inside of you. Like that's, I just think the issue is that people talk past each other on this particular topic. No one's actually trying to understand the other side. It's just like either you hate women or you want to kill babies, and there's no conversation happening in the middle. And I personally am very pro-life, but I just try to at least I try to at least understand where the other side's coming from. And I just don't think that there's enough of that. So anyway, I think that the whole Alabama thing really should be discussed in a more reasonable way instead of jumping to the extremes. And again, I've got on a rant, but that's because abortion's it's a tough one.
It's a big issue, but also I think one of the things I just noticed though is the arguments that probably the main argument is not even really anything about the actual abortion or anything. It's really about it being about a woman's decision, right? And they're just spouting. I don't know who started that viral, like it has multiple, like, no man should make a decision about a woman's body, like over and over again. Like, I'm sure you guys have already seen it by now.
Yeah.
And the argument is, well, okay, first of all, not only was it a woman who signed the bill into law, the governor, but it was also a woman who authored the bill as well. Of course, when you say that, then they're just like, well, either they be quiet or they just act like they're not women at all because they're white women. Of course, then that's what it always goes to.
Your skin color determines whether or not you're a woman.
Yeah,
right?
The argument's always gender. Oh, can't use gender. Okay, all right, fine. Race. Oh, can't use race. Okay, well they're not really, but whatever they are. You know, that's what they always use. And I know both of them because they always use it for Black women. But but really, it's that you're saying, first of all, I mean, this is why people can't stand feminism, because their argument is based on the fact that no man should be making decisions about a woman's body. I'm a woman and you should not be making any decisions about that. I'm the only one who can make a decision about that. First of all, are you saying then you're implying that if it was a man that you can make a decision about a man's body, that we have a special privilege because we're women? And therefore, no one can make decisions about us, right? Or just even talking about it. You heard the argument where people are like, if you don't have a uterus, don't even like talk about this issue.
Yeah. There was someone who was like, no uterus, no opinion.
And
I was like, or I tweeted, now do trans women.
Oh, well, Women's March. That's why I keep following them, only for their arguments to see how like crazy they'll get. Women's March just did something on that of not all women are, part of this conversation. It's like it also affects other people too, and it's a trans and like someone else who's fluid. I'm like, okay, guys, you're not even helping your own argument here.
The real thing is that you shouldn't be telling someone they can't have an opinion just because of like what kind of person they are or like what their biology is. Everyone should be able to be allowed to have their own moral standings and their own philosophy and be able to express it, whether you're a man, woman, whatever. And a lot of people forget that most of the really passionate people in the pro-life movement are women.
Yeah.
It's not men who are leading the pro-life movement. It's
absolutely
really not.
Absolutely not. Yeah. So that's one of the big things with your charger is.
At least this mic's right here. So
you're like,
just let it die. It's fine.
I will say we had a really funny comment after our interview. Someone said to Sarah, she said, Minnesota is more high def than Texas. I'm like, okay, we deserve that because we don't have the means to have awesome high def cameras, and I mean that is also her job, or livelihood.
Yeah,
but we want to use that excuse.
Her camera was awesome, so
yeah. But it was funny. Also, we're in Colorado, not Texas.
Yeah.
So I made sure I let them know about that. But so we have a really amazing guest coming up. Her name is Avery, and she's the owner of Skip's Tactical Solutions. Nina, do you know a little bit more about her? I'm going to invite her while you talk to them. I know I gave you a little bit, but
oh sure. Well, she has a company where she makes different kinds of products that help you be able to carry your weapon. So we're really excited to have her on today. I always am excited to speak to other women who are in the entrepreneurial vein, and also women who are trying to create different solutions for us to help carry our firearms. And while Antonia is doing this, I have one more thought on the abortion thing, if that's okay.
Yeah. No.
And this is something that I've thought about a lot. It's and it's kind of a novel idea, but I just want to throw this out there. People in the comments can tell me what you think about this. But if you know, in law, there's a theory called trespass by necessity, and in effect, what that says is that if somebody the case that was famous for it was basically someone got shipwrecked onto somebody's land, and they wanted to, expel them off their land because they were trespassing. But what the court said was, if someone's trespassing on your land, you can't kick them off if kicking them off will result in their death. All right, that's the basics. So what I'm saying is that if you're pregnant, you have someone who is trespassing by necessity there, if it's an unwanted pregnancy. And so for me, I think about it as, is it okay to remove someone from your property, which is your body, if removing them will kill them? It's like, if it's not true on land, then is it true on my person as well? So that's just my thoughts. And our guest is here. So awesome.
Hey, Avery.
You guys can comment on that later. And hey, Avery, thanks for being here. We're so excited to have you.
Hi, ladies. Thanks for having me.
She made sure she's like, your live has no sound. Like, yes. We're like, yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry about that.
We changed that. So thanks for bearing with us. But yeah, I'm so excited to have you on. It's gonna be great. So where are you? Are you in Florida?
Yes, I live in Tampa, Florida.
Okay, awesome. Born and raised, or?
No, I'm actually just stationed here right now.
Okay.
I'm from North Carolina.
Okay, that's what she says, that Southern, the accent. I love it. Which, I'm born and raised Texas, and I don't think I except for saying y'all maybe sometimes, but I don't have any accent. Just blame on my Nigerian mother. Yeah.
Oh, so Avery, for those who aren't familiar with you, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background and how you got involved with some of this two-way movement stuff?
So my background is I have been in the military for almost 16 years, and a week and a half I will hit 16 years in the Air Force. And about 10 years ago, well, a little over 10 years ago, I decided to become a firearms instructor in the Air Force. So in the Air Force, we have a dedicated job to giving firearms instruction, and we're also gunsmiths. So about a year ago, March of February 2018, I decided to start my own company. So I've been teaching for 10 years, and I felt like the civilian community needed my skills because I had only been teaching service members. So I decided to start Skip's Tactical Solutions because I felt like there needed to be more women, more minorities, and then more people with my personality that were educating people on firearms and firearm safety.
Awesome. So can you expound on when you said more people with your personality?
So I have a really laid back personality. I'm an introvert, and I've had to really get out of my shell because you're not going to meet anybody and you're not going to have any business if you don't talk to people. But I know what it's like to not know anything about a gun, because I didn't grow up around guns. And I know what it's like to be the only girl. And I know what it's like to be the person who's getting talked down to. And I wanted to change that. I wanted to be able to educate people in a safe environment to where there's no one in there judging anyone else, and to where people can watch a live video of me and they can go, oh my God, I love her personality. I want her to teach me, versus me being like, I know everything, no one else knows anything. And if you don't like guns, then you're stupid. I think if I can educate you and we can have a healthy debate, then that's what it's all about.
Amen, sister.
Well, that's so awesome. So how have you enjoyed the entrepreneurship aspect of it? Because that's something that I've always thought is a very empowering thing for women. So what do you think about being an entrepreneur?
Ask my acne. So I call it.
I know.
When I get stressed out. So I have to say, I am just extremely overwhelmed with everything I've been able to learn, everything I've been able to accomplish. And the reason why I started my company is because I heard being told me that I was being selfish and that I needed to share my skills with the civilian community. And so I have a husband and 2 kids. And I'm like, I don't have any extra time. And I was told, like, no, you'll find time. So all the things that I've learned and all the things that I've been able to accomplish in the year that I've been in business is phenomenal. But being an entrepreneur is a roller coaster. You have to find a tribe. You have to be around like-minded individuals, because if you're not, the individuals who are not like-minded will bring you down.
Yeah, that's really true.
You definitely have to
Preach.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. And you know who you are.
You're probably watching right now.
Oh, she had no live, like, audio there.
I didn't have audio for a good, what was that, like 10 minutes? Oh gosh.
I know, was it 10? No,
I hope not.
But it's crazy, being an entrepreneur, like it's not like you know any of these things. And just like, with your audio, like your audio is out, you didn't know. Once you found out, you're like, all right, guys, hold on, let me figure this out. But it's all about problem solving on the fly and not freaking out and just keeping your cool. And I'm really big on remembering what your why is. And I tell people this all the time. If you don't know what your why is, then when you hit a rough patch in your company, you're just going to stop.
That's so true.
So, or I guess, do you have another question? I can keep asking.
Well, I would love to know more about your background because.
Okay, so
yeah, your childhood, everything.
Childhood. So I grew up in the country. I am a country girl. My parents, awesome. When I was in high school, I decided I wanted to join the Air Force. It was like I went to one of those weekend tours at a college, and I was like, yeah, I'm not about this life. I need to go off. And I always wanted to be a police officer. So someone told me, if I become a police officer in the military, it was safer versus being an officer in the regular civilian community. So I decided to become a police officer. And then once I hit probably about my 4 or 5 year mark in the Air Force, I wanted a challenge. I knew nothing about guns. And I had been doing pretty well in my career, so I wanted a challenge. I'm all about just challenging myself and getting out of my comfort zone. Although I hate getting out of my comfort zone, when I conquer something, I'm like, oh, I did that. So when I decided to become a firearms instructor, it was very, very different for me. I like to have my nails done. I like to look nice, and I was told, you can't have your nails done, but it's not written anywhere, it's not a safety concern. But there were just people who were like, no, you can't do this. And I was also told that I wouldn't make it as a firearms instructor. And if that person's watching.
Down, girl.
Okay.
Seriously. But I've experienced something similar even recently. I went to the range, and it was ladies' night even. But I was wearing my my 3.5-inch heels or whatever, and my nails were done. But I did have a couple guys come over and try to be like, "You want me to teach you how to hold your gun?" It's like, I know how to hold my gun anyway. So I did.
They were trying to hit on you, but okay.
You're probably right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that more power to women who want to go and be feminine with their firearm. Exactly. There's nothing that says a firearm can't be a feminine tool. So
yeah, you have your nails done. If you see my early times with my, I'm not saying I can't bring it back, but long nails, stiletto type looking, the whole shape. I always said that I wanted to dictate gun culture. I don't want gun culture to dictate me.
Absolutely.
And what I dress. I'm gonna wear my Calvin Klein dresses and my my stilettos, look good at the range, and that's okay. And I think that inspires a lot more people who feel and I love that you are a little both. So you are military, which I think a lot of women, when they first think of, getting into firearms and everything, they think, well, oh, you're law enforcement. Well, that makes sense. Or you're military. Okay, well, that makes sense because you had some background. But you just said that you were in the Air Force 4 or 5 years and you didn't know anything about firearms. Can you say more about that and what that culture is?
So I knew just enough. And it was something that it was never a good experience for me. You come in, people are yelling at you, and then you're not really good at what you're doing, but no one's really taking that extra time to find out why you're not good. So if you pass, it's like, okay, good, you passed. And then the next time it happens, it's like, all right, here it goes again, So I would be the girl in the class, and I have no shame in my game. I would be that girl, and I would just be looking, and then the person beside me would be like, okay, So I just wanted to gain a skill that I knew would benefit me, and become a firearms instructor, that would definitely benefit me. But I'm also a gunsmith. So we're
Oh,
able to
Nice.
do all of, we can do all our own maintenance in-house, and we can also build firearms from scratch. So for me, it was completely out of my comfort zone. And even now when people see me, they're like, you're a firearms instructor? And I'm like, yeah. So it was something that I learned. They also taught me how to teach. And I think a lot of people don't understand that, hearing of being a firearms instructor or the whole tactical thing, it can sound very sexy, but it takes a lot to know how to teach people, because everybody's different and you need to know how to be able to convey your message to, because I used to teach Air Force special operators. And when I taught them, they have a different personality. So I knew how to teach them and talk to them, but then I can also teach a child, or I can also teach someone who's never touched a gun before. So I think that's really important. But for me, once I became an instructor, it was just, they get you through the school, and now you have to go out here and just really learn like the deep of it. And I learned a lot. But I also have been able to, I worked with special operations for a long time. And when I work with those guys, they toughen me up. But I was also able to go to a lot of really nice schools. So I've been able to go to Glock, and I'm a Glock Advanced Armor. I want to say I've been a Glock Advanced Armor for about almost 7 years.
Okay.
I've been able to go to SIG Academy, and I've also been able to go to the FN Armors course. So I've had a lot of experience, which I felt like I needed to bring that to the community, and I wanted them to see. And another thing was I wanted to be able to represent minorities in a good way. It was, you can see a lot of negative images, but for every negative image, I wanted to put a positive image out there so people could know, okay, well, there are people out here that are doing bad things regardless of the color of their skin.
Yeah.
So I wanted to empower minorities for them to see, okay, well, here's the image. And I don't want pictures of me, but I want to put pictures of everyone so they can see, but I'm really big on women. It's okay, so here's a woman and here's another woman. And, minority or not, I think we need to empower each other, because, we're out there killing it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's what I hate, love, and in the same aspect really is that when the media just wants to paint this picture that women hate guns. And not only that if we had a gun, I'm sure you've heard of this, we're more likely to have a gun used against us than to use it in self-defense. And it just paints and reiterates this very sexist picture that we are not capable, if not just as capable as a man, of using a firearm for our defense or whatever, recreationally or whatever. Like, it's painting that picture when it suits them. When, as an instructor, most of the time I know as a woman and other women that I work with, that they usually do better.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So
is that really true? Are we better shots? What do you think?
Yes. And even if you ask men that are instructors, they'll pony it up and they'll tell you. But I think for me, whenever I have been into a class, I put my ego to the side because I'm there to learn. I don't care how long that person's been teaching. I don't care. You can gain something from every single person that you encounter. So I may encounter an instructor and I'm taking their class and I'm like, I really like that joke. I'm going to incorporate that joke into my class, Or it's like, I really don't like the way that they explain that. I'll make sure I don't ever explain it that way, But it's really important to just learn from everyone who's around you. But women are generally better shots than men.
Yeah. And I've heard different theories. One is that because we grew up in a culture where we are not expected to know firearms at all, right? Not be good at it, because we already have that mentality. So we're going into it and we're like, I don't know anything. So I'm going to humble myself and just learn. And that tends to be, for anybody, that's really, that it could be male or female. If you're going to humble yourself and wait for the teacher to teach you the right way and not start putting in your own bad, type of skills or whatever into it that you think that are important, then you're probably going to do well. Better than
I had an older lady who recently came, and I'm not going to say her name, but major shout outs to her. She came all the way from Dallas to take a class with me here in Tampa. And her brother had been trying to get her into firearms for at least 20 years. And she was like, no, I'm not going to do it. And he forwarded her a video interview that I did. And she came all the way to Tampa to take a class with me. So you want to call like honored? I was truly honored. But she had never shot a gun before. She came into my class. We had a private lesson and she listened. And I had to stop her. I'm like, is this a joke? Like, do you know how to shoot? You know, it's like, am I being punked? Because she was so good. But what she did was she sat in the class, she learned, and she applied every single thing that I taught her. And she was like, no, isn't a joke. I just had a really good instructor. And I was like, thanks.
There you go. Yeah, I'm like, man, I need to go over to Florida and have you teach me.
Yeah,
Can we
have
both
a private class?
I know. Can we both? We need to do a second YouTube video over there. So, I think that's
yes.
I'm already like, why haven't we thought about this? This is happening. So
yes, I like to do. It seems like recently I've been hit up for more private lessons, and I do enjoy private lessons because all of my classes are capped at 10 because I want it to be that intimate environment. I want you to be able to ask your questions and we be able to interact. But lately I had a lot of private lessons, which I really enjoy it.
Awesome. Do you have any questions?
I actually don't have any questions in the live chat right now.
Okay.
But I was just gonna ask. So it sounds like you do a lot of teaching with skips, but you also keep mentioning that you're a gunsmith as well.
Oh, yeah.
So what kind of products or what kind of things do you smith? And also, just tell us more about your company and how we can support you, because I'm all about capitalism. So
yeah.
So as far as gunsmith, so my full-time job, I call it my full-time job and then my side job. So my full-time job, I'm still active duty and I am a firearms instructor. So that's where more of my gunsmithing is. I cannot really work on anyone else's weapons right now. Guns right now, because you have to have an FFL in order to take that weapon into your possession. So I can't technically do that, but I can do my own. So, me and my husband, we build guns. And as far as my company, I train. So I have a training section, but what I wanted to do was I wanted to bring like that entire experience. So I call it the ultimate firearms experience. So when you come to me, I want you to trust me and I want to build a relationship with you. So if you're looking for a cleaning product, cool, you can go onto my website and you can purchase a cleaning product. Or if you're looking for, I only sell belly band style holsters right now. So if you're looking for that type of holster, but that is the type of holster that I prefer. And for me, the way that I dress, which I think it's like 50% of the women, yoga pants, like jeans, t-shirts, tank tops, that you don't, and I don't like to wear a belt. I wear a belt every single day to work, and I don't like to wear a belt when I'm not at work. So although I do wear Kydex holsters sometimes or inside the waistband, I don't always, that's not the way that I prefer to dress. So I wanted to be able to show women that you don't have to change who you are for this lifestyle. You can adapt this lifestyle to the way that you dress and the person that you are. So I like to show pictures of me dressing up, and I will carry off body and I will put it in a handbag, but I'm not throwing it in a handbag. I'm showing them like, hey, there's concealed carry handbags out here, and you can carry your firearm and you can have on a nice tight bodycon dress, and no one would ever expect for you to have a gun, but you're still able to protect yourself.
Love it.
And what else do I sell? I sell scopes and optics.
Ooh,
because yes, so that I want, and another thing that I'm big on is training families, because I have a family. So I would never want to encounter an experience where if I wanted to take my kids with me to train, they wouldn't be allowed to train, or if I felt more comfortable with my husband coming, if he couldn't come. So I allowed the entire family. So I wanted to bring products to the line that a hunter or someone who likes to target shoot, so scopes and optics. And I mean, some women like to do that as well, but a little bit of everything, really. And if I don't sell it, so I also sell concealed carry handbags.
Ooh.
But if I don't sell it, then I'm an affiliate with the company. And I tell everyone, if there's something on my page, just know it's a product that I know, I trust, and I use myself. And I just want to bring those products to the people so that they can know, okay, this product's been vetted. Skip is experienced. And if Skip is referring something to us, then we know it's the real deal.
Awesome. Speaking of skips, can you please give us the origin of that? Who
Okay.
skip?
So my husband is Greek.
Oh.
So our last name is Skipalis. So everyone calls, so everyone, you know, in the military, we call last names, and everyone just messes up Skipalis. So they just called me Skip. So when I was thinking of a name, I wanted something that was personalized. Like everybody can be like Joe's Farms Training, you know, but I wanted to bring tactical to the civilian community. But when I say like my version of tactical is I want everyone to have that tactical mindset. Like that mom who is a stay-at-home mom, she can have that tactical mindset where she's always aware of her surroundings. And it doesn't have to be, okay, I'm putting on cargo pants or I'm getting suited up as a police officer. I think if we all had that tactical mindset, and I just say, you know, bring those tactical solutions to everyone, and then we can all just be a little bit safer.
That's awesome. I love it. I didn't know that. I was like, maybe it's someone's nickname. Okay, that makes
Yeah, so that's my nickname. So Skips and then Tactical Solutions.
okay. That's so cool. Also, we want to see pictures of your kids, but I digress.
I know.
My kids. So I have 2 kids. They are 10, and in a week, my oldest will be 13.
Oh,
So
is it a girl?
my oldest, I have 2 boys.
2 boys. Oh,
2 boys. So
Aw.
yeah, one kid is like extremely embarrassed, you know, and then my youngest is so like he has that entrepreneur mindset. He's like, Mom, like, so we should get some leggings for the business, or we should get this type of shirt for the business. And I'm like, I never thought of that, but that's a good idea.
Well, I not that you definitely don't have to do this, but I have been trying to find like a garter holster to wear under dresses, and I cannot find a good one. So
Oh,
there's a market for
Yeah.
that.
I definitely want to get some of I want to come out with my own line of my stuff because I mean, you work so hard to build in every company that I mentioned. So Breakthrough Clean, I'm a dealer. Hollow Sun, I'm a dealer. Athlon, I'm a dealer. I deal for Miss Conceal because I love her holsters because they are comfortable and they're affordable. And I'm not going to ask people to buy something that I wouldn't buy myself or that I wouldn't use myself.
Right.
But all of these products, I am an authorized dealer for them. But then the companies that I'm not a dealer for, I'm just an affiliate because I mean, I literally can't house all these things in my house.
Yeah.
And I can't afford them either. But I mean, at one point, you just want to go out and build your own and bring bring your own products to the market.
I'm all for that. And I think I encourage you to do that. That space is, I mean, this is a time for women, especially if they have knowledge in this industry and you already have the social media presence, you already obviously have a national presence, people coming, flying from Dallas to come see you. So, but I will also say, I know people are like, oh, don't bring race into it. It's true, especially for Black women. I can't tell you how many people I have to keep telling, hey, guess what? The market's there, but no one really wants to go into it. So, hey, why don't you do it?
I'll tell you, like, no pity party, but it is hard being a Black woman. You know,
yes, girl.
Because, I'm already a minority in the gun community, and then I'm just a double minority. And so I've had where, people of my own race don't want to support me for whatever reason there may be. And I don't exclude when it comes to training people. I don't care what your color is. I really don't care about your political affiliation. Like, I don't talk politics with people because I'm here. I have a solid mission to train you. I don't care what you believe in because at the end of the day, like, we're not all going to agree, but we can agree that you need to be prepared. You need to be safe. And I think a lot of people don't understand that as an African-American woman, I would not have any of these skills because not one African-American trained me with any of the skills that I have. So if anyone would have ever discriminated against me, I couldn't bring my skills to the civilian community.
Mm.
So I've had a lot of, I want to say all white males. Well, no, I had one African-American male train me, Glock. One African-American male out of my entire firearms career.
Wow.
And if they didn't train me, I wouldn't be able to train other people. So I try to remind people that, no, I'm not discriminating against anyone because I don't want anyone to discriminate against me.
Yeah. And that's same thing with me. It was a white male, oh my goodness, that took me under his wing, found out that I was being cyber stalked, and was like, I'm gonna treat you like my daughter. I'm gonna protect you. I'm gonna teach you. And I've been, in this industry since then. But yeah, I think this industry really shows, for many reasons, of, first of all, Second Amendment is for everyone, but also just practically speaking, when it comes to the firearms instruction and training, that obviously racism exists anywhere, obviously, but as prevalent as the media wants to make it out to be, no, because we wouldn't even be in this industry if we didn't have other people who were mostly white males that they're trying to demonize, the ones who took us under their wings and trained us. So I'm glad that you brought that up, because that's so important, and love to see that attitude too.
Yeah, I think you have to find that delicate balance between trying to encourage women and trying to encourage other minorities to take self-defense in their own hands, while also, acknowledging that it really is for everybody. Like, the Second Amendment is just about self-defense of the individual. And I'm all about individualism too. Each individual has the right to defend themselves and to be trained, if they need it. So
yeah, and to train others. I'm sure you're gonna eventually start inspiring and mentoring other women like you, other Black women, other whatever minorities who are minorities in different ways, whether transgender or whatever, who are not in the industry, but who will be in the future, because they're going to train other people. So hopefully it'll be less and less of that being an anomaly. So but yeah, well, we're really blessed that you came onto the show to talk with us. Before you leave, we have young women who watch the show from Empowered, and I always try to, especially when you see other women that are inspirational, to get them on board by hearing some type of advice of, if they're just starting, if they're just getting their first gun or training, what piece of advice would you give someone, college age, high school age, who just wants to take safety into their own hands?
Good question.
Thank you.
I would say to seek the advice of a professional, and don't let anyone else's opinions dictate what you do. I've had a lot of people say, well, why would you this or why would you that? And I have my reasons why. A lot of people will put their opinions off on you, and you can't make a well-informed decision if you don't have your own information. I don't go off even when it comes to firearms. So this one manufacturer may not be the best in everyone else's eyes, but I want to get my hands on it. I want to make my own opinion. And I just recently did that, and I was so surprised. I was actually upset that I had listened to so many people for so long and kind of drug my foot on getting it. But make your own opinions. Don't ever let anyone else dictate what you do. And I really want to emphasize this. You can do, and this is for anyone who's watching, you can do anything that you put your mind to. I know 1 year ago, I would have never thought that I would be where I am today, but I know what I did was put my mind to it, and I worked hard. So hard work always pays off. And if you get advice from a professional, then you're gonna know that they are trained, versus this one person who may have had some military service years ago, but just get the advice of a professional. Take a class if you can, but just get educated.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's great advice.
And speaking of Florida, like literally my hair, like the humidity, I feel like it's talking about Florida, my hair just it's soaking up the humidity the whole time. I'm like,
so it's funny, when I first moved to Florida, I was like, oh my God, like, what am I gonna do? I moved to Florida, it was October, and this was like almost 4 years ago. I was like, how am I gonna live? Like, it is so humid here. And I had moved from up towards Pensacola, and it wasn't as humid there. So people are like, oh, Florida, no big deal. And I'm like, no, this is like next level.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
But something else that I want to mention really quick is, this is a little plug, but You know how there are just so many issues right now going on with the NRA and with the this and with the that. And what I'm trying to do right now is start my own organization. So I'm partnered up with Mr. Kim Blanchard, and we are trying to start Gun Rights Alliance. So let me know if anyone's interested. It is literally like we have just started it, but if anyone follows me, they will know that I'm all about not just talking about it, right? I will see that there's a problem and I want to bring a solution to the table. So not trying to say go to one versus the other, but we need to make sure that we are actively supporting the organizations that are out there. But if we feel like one organization isn't supporting us versus the other, then we have to come up with a solution.
Oh, okay. All right.
Well, cool.
Awesome.
Good to know.
Yeah, that's really good.
Do you have a website or anywhere that someone could go that might want to support you with that?
So if they want to support me with that, what they can do is send me a message on social, and I will. Right now, all we have is a Facebook group, a very small Facebook group. So we are kind of getting it off. But if there's anyone who would like to volunteer and help out, we would absolutely appreciate it.
Awesome.
Well, I want to let you know you do have some love in the live chat. We didn't get questions, but we do have Second Liberty Gun Club says, I love Skip's tactical solutions. So there you go.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Second Liberty has been a supporter for a very long time.
Awesome.
Very long time.
Yeah. So, but yeah, love this. You ladies are awesome. Rock those Glocks, ladies. So,
Yes.
so we've got a lot of love. Audience,
I think they're talking about firearms, but just making sure.
But I want to tell you, ladies, I really appreciate what you're doing. I know it's hard work, especially being an entrepreneur and having a life of your own, you know, having a real life and friends. It's like, oh my God, like I love you guys, but I really don't get to talk to you that much. But I really appreciate everything that you're doing, and just know that we see you and we support you.
Aww.
We take it.
Well, we support you too and
yes.
the work you do as well, because especially instructing people, it's very important that the 2A community is not just armed, but also that we know what we're doing with our firearms too. So
yeah, absolutely.
And we just got a new Florida State chair. Shout out to you, Alexandra. She just got her first gun. We're gonna do something in Florida.
Yeah.
They don't have campus carry yet. There's a lot of people there who are upset, and we have a lot of young women who are really active. So we're gonna have to connect somehow. So
yeah, if you need to connect your ladies that are in Florida with me, I can absolutely help them out.
Awesome.
And it sounds like Antonia and I need to take a trip to Florida as well.
We're just gonna go.
Yes. Yeah. And then afterwards we can go to the beach.
Oh, that too. That too.
But I want to add one last thing though. I think it's really important that not only the gun community, but just the community sees that as women, that we actually support each other, because you know a lot of times they're like, oh, like this woman doesn't support this woman, or just because they don't see you. Like I took a picture with you at NRA because I thought it was really important for people to see, like, although our paths have never crossed before, like when they did cross, that I made sure I introduced myself and that I want to show people like I support her regardless.
Yeah, no, especially that's unfortunate thing is that there are a little bit of stereotypes. That obviously every stereotype, there's truth to it, that unfortunately there are women who don't want to support other women. And that's part of why we have this podcast, to bring everybody from all different types on this show. But also with empowered, that we're gonna set the example when it comes in this industry, because we see it's not just women. We see a lot of men. Obviously, what's going on right now in the gun community is just a lot of men like saying, "I hate you." No, you're not. You're a fringe group. No, you're awful. Like,
you're too fringe.
Yeah, you're too
fringe.
Not fringe enough. You're not fringe enough. There you go.
Oh my God, I'm like, I didn't realize like how much drama there was in the gun community. So I didn't really get into the Second Amendment community, you know, like actively like seeing what was all out there until I started my business, and I was like, oh. Okay, it's like the real world, you know, like they have their cliques and everybody just is chatty Cathy at times, and then there's drama. But I'm like, oh, okay. So I'll just stay to myself, and then I know that I'm good to go.
Exactly. You know, I mean, I think it's so important if you set that example, because again, young women are looking at us. They're watching us to see. They're going to be the ones taking that next time that mantle, basically. So we have to be a good example to them. So,
And
but
there will
yeah.
always be women who want to tell us that we're like, I don't know, traitors, or trying to, I don't know, disadvantage other women by fighting for gun rights. I still don't understand that, but I'm going to fight for the self-defense of those women too. Even the women who don't understand why we're doing what we're doing, like I'll fight for them too. So,
Yeah.
And I try to educate women, because what I hate is to see someone become a victim and then now their mind is changed, because once you become a victim, that's something that's going to be with you for the rest of your life. You know, if you got assaulted or whatever it may be, but just get informed and have some kind of way to protect yourself. And I don't push guns on people, because a gun is not for everyone. It is absolutely not for everyone. But for the people who, like, I had a lady the other day tell me, and she was very honest. She was like, "Oh no, I cannot have a gun in my house. I'm bipolar." And I was like, "Okay, but what I want you to do is just think about situational awareness and know other ways to protect yourself, because a gun is not for her."
Right.
Yeah.
Or, you know, and it's like, if you don't want to own a gun, that's fine too. It's just a
Yeah.
matter of the
It being
fact
their
that
decision.
our ability to own a gun is
Yeah.
getting infringed upon all the time.
Oh yeah.
But like your personal choice and your ability to defend yourself, if that's how you want to do it. And that's why I do think that there are other solutions if you don't feel comfortable carrying a gun, like those pepper blasters and all that stuff. Like there are ways to protect yourself if you can't or if you don't feel comfortable carrying a gun. I just think that if someone's gonna try to like force themselves on me, I want lethal force as my defense. So that's you know my stuff.
And I call my gun my equalizer.
Yeah.
Because I don't care if you're 6'2", 7, whatever, and I'm only 5'2". So if someone is trying to harm me, and a lot of times, people are on drugs or whatever it may be, and I don't want them to get close enough to be able to put their hands on me. I want to be able to stop that before they get there. And with a gun, it levels that playing field.
Absolutely, it does.
I did have one person ask if the Gun Rights Alliance that you were talking about has a Facebook group or like a Facebook name that they can.
It is a Facebook group.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
okay. So,
and is that the name? Just Gun Rights?
Yeah. So I will actually put the name of it in the live chat.
Oh, cool.
I'll put the group in the live chat.
Awesome. I'm sure they'll appreciate that.
Yay. Yeah. And also, if you want to put your Instagram handle, or I don't know if you have a Twitter, but you said Facebook as well, but any and your website, so people can look up classes and everything. But
you should definitely verbally also mention at least your social media.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
So you can follow me on all platforms. I have a Facebook, I have an Instagram, I have a Twitter. I'm not very active on Twitter. And I have a YouTube channel. And all of my handles are Skips, SKIPS, Tactical Solutions. And I also have a podcast, and my podcast is called Skips Tactical Solutions. So I made it easy for everyone, and everything's just Skips Tactical Solutions. And I have a private Facebook group, because my big thing is making sure that everyone can be in a safe environment. So if someone has a question, like in my class, there's no such thing as a stupid question, because that's not your level of expertise. It's my level. So ask me those questions. So on all of my platforms, I don't do bullying. I don't do talking down to people. And in my Facebook group, it's just a very laid back place where you can talk and ask those types of questions and interact.
Awesome.
Great.
Awesome. Needed.
Well, everyone should follow Avery. She's awesome.
Yes. Thanks, Avery.
Thank you.
Definitely have you back, and you stay safe in Florida over there, but I'm sure you will, and I'm glad that you're helping other people stay safe as well.
Yeah.
So
Thank you, ladies. It was so nice to be able to get on and chat with you tonight.
Thank you.
It was great to have you. Thanks for coming. We appreciate your time too.
Thanks, ladies.
All right. See you later.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Alrighty. That was a really good conversation. I love seeing that. I just get happy when I see other people.
I
that
know.
are-
Every time we have a guest, I'm just like, yeah, there's other people out there who
We're
care.
not
and
the
who
only
know what we're
weird
talking
ones.
about.
Weird. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, thanks for the support for in the chat, guys. Supporting her and being on your best behavior. You guys are awesome anyways. Just kidding. But
I
but
know
thanks
no
for
one's
also
ever really been rude in our live chat, actually, for the most part. People have been
somehow one
pretty
time
nice.
where that guy was like, women don't need guns because they're emotional or something like that.
Or like
And they're like,
women, I don't know. Yeah, someone
Yeah,
was saying
yeah.
women are too emotional to have guns.
yeah, I don't know if
who
they're
that
trolling
was.
us.
I don't think they
Probably
came back.
they were trolling.
I don't think they came back.
Yeah.
Second Liberty Gun Club says, Antonio, we need you back in Maryland. And yeah, I mean, we really need Antonio everywhere, don't we?
We need you back. I will come back to Maryland. I was like, wait, what was it? I wasn't Maryland. I was like, but yeah, I mean, oh goodness, everyone's just doing stuff out there right now.
People
But
are moving furniture
yeah,
above us right now.
yeah, but that's probably my cue right now. So we have fiancés to get back to.
It's true.
So thank you guys so much for joining us in this interview. We of course we have a Patreon.
Yes.
So, and I wish I saw someone else who gets it mixed up all the time too. So I feel a little bit better that I keep calling. It's like, it's not Patreon. It's not, you're not a Patreon, you're a patron.
Right.
Like that mix up. So
you become a patron.
if you want to become a patron, yes, become a patron on Patreon. We already have 2 amazing people who are supporting us. We're gonna see that grow. We're gonna do definitely some prizes for those. We get to certain points. So there's a lot of great benefits of from each tier, anyways. Including in more content that we're gonna have soon. Helping out with the new studio that we're gonna have in the future. So and more guests and more experiences where we're out of the basement and we're going out and actually shooting. So we're
all the best
that
podcasts start in a basement.
Yeah, that's actually true. It's like the garage.
Yeah, a basement or a garage
podcast. Yeah, exactly. So we're basically gonna be Apple one day.
Yeah,
No,
Apple
and podcast.
Apple and Microsoft both started in a garage.
Exactly.
So
you guys are like, you had like half of your show where you didn't have audio. So yeah.
That's true. Yeah, that's
be nice. Okay.
That's why we need patrons. We can't even get our audio together.
And if you're a producer, and you're in Colorado, talk to us, let us know. If you know someone else who is a producer who like to join the Empowered team, we take men too. We're not men haters. So we welcome everyone.
It's very true. You can email us at triggerwarning2a@gmail.com because I actually think there might be people who want to help us. So so if you're interested in being a producer, if you're in Colorado, shoot us an email. But yeah, we'd love to have you as a patron. I also I'm going to set up a PO box as well for those individuals who really like hate Patreon, who might want to support us. So once that's out, I will send the details out to all of our subscribers and stuff like that.
Yeah. Or if you want to send like cool things that you want us to feature, we might do that. We'll see
letters.
If you're a patron. Oh, that's the stipulation. But thank you guys. Of course, like, comment, and subscribe. Right? Share, tell people about this. Yeah. And we'll be back next Monday. Don't know what time. We'll let you know. That's usually how it works.
Next Monday, I'll try to actually tweet out when we're going to be on too. I forgot to even say that we were going to go live today, I think. So
yeah. So thanks for those who joined us last minute. But all right, we're gonna sign off. Thank you guys. Love you guys. See you next Monday.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.